Hey everybody, and welcome back to Reading Sprints and Choices. I'm your girl Sasha Bonet, and this is another episode of a serial Unfinisher series. Welcome. If you're also a serial Unfinisher series, you belong here. We belong here because we do not finish series. I'm trying. This year alone, so far I finished 4. And my goal is to finish 6. Only 6. I might be bumping that up because we're only in February and I finished 4. I thought it would take me longer than that, but these videos are really helping to keep me on track with my reading goals. So kudos to me. But let me get into what series I'm trying to complete in this video. Now, just because we're trying does not mean it will happen. I could DNF, which means eventually they will be unhauled and off my shelves, or I might not have the time to get to them. That's more the case than anything because, again, I am a full-time student getting my master's degree, and that takes up a lot of writing time, a lot of reading time, just time. I'm also human. I have things to do. I have places to go, things like that. But prioritizing my reading just like I prioritize my schoolwork and my social life and just my adult life period is everything to me. So we'll try to finish all of the books that I chose for this video. Is Beverly Jenkins On the Corner of Hope and Maine. This is the Blessings series. Beverly Jenkins is one of my favorite authors. The favorite in historical romance, but one of my favorite authors overall. And this is a contemporary series that is interconnected into her historical romance series and books because the town that is in the series was started way back when in one of those historical romances, and I love that so much. I love the Beverly Jenkins world. I love it so much. It reminds me of the Alexandria House world, where they do such good work with interconnecting things that everything doesn't have to be connected. You might not know every single character, but Henry Adams is a town that was named after a man way back when in one of those books. You do remember that, right? You do remember certain family names, right? You do remember that. And when they're restoring this old black town, and they're restoring the buildings and they're calling it after the Three Spencers that was in a previous book, you remember that, and I appreciate that attention to detail and that work so well. So yeah, this is the 10th book in the Blessing series. So yes, I've read all 9 plus that novella Crystal Clear in this series. Oh, I am a Bev Jinx stan. No Bev Jinx hate will be done over here. Keep it to yourself. Yeah, so this is the 10th in this series. And then I also own the 11th. So hopefully we get, not even hopefully, I know I'm going to get through this one. And when I get through this one, we'll get to the 11th one because she has a 12th book coming out this year in this series in October. And that's a book I am anticipating. That is one of my 2025 books that I am anticipating. I love a series that you can follow so far that is such a vast world that you don't mind following the different characters in each and every one. She keeps up with everybody. Keeping up with Bev Jinx is what this should be called. That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human by Kimberly Lemming. Now, this series, I've been putting this series off for a reason. I started Kimberly Lemming when she still had covers that look like this, and they were awesome. They were fun, they were fast, smutty, funny. It's fantasy romance, and like I said, I love a book that has a map. Then she got traditionally published, and we started getting covers that look like this. but I really did enjoy the old covers more. I enjoy the series. I've even read some of the novellas. I think all of the novellas that come along with the series that you could only read on Kindle. Let's read the back of this one so we know what we're getting into. All children are told fairy tales. Some are epic adventures with high stakes and exciting twists, while others are tales of pitiful princesses trapped in boring towers, pining for their Prince Charmings to come rescue them. Growing up, Cherry always hated those stories. Why didn't the princesses just get up and rescue themselves? Little did she know that her own fate would take an ironically similar turn, because now here she is stuck in a tower. Turns out when a dragon holds you hostage, he doesn't just let you let you get up and leave. Who knew? And just when Cherry thinks she sees hope on the horizon, that hope is smashed to bits by, you guessed it, another damn dragon. And I'm here for it. These books are, like I said, they're fun. There's a sentient sword, right? So it's magic, it's dragons, it's what do you call it? Demons, snakes. It's a whole bunch of things, and it should be a good and fun time. The third book we're gonna try to tackle in this series is Quan's Gutter, the explosive sequel to Gangsta. So if I finish this book, I will have finished a series, which I'm happy about. I read the first one, and the way it left off was wow. That's all I can say. This is urban fiction, and I'm getting back into my urban fiction bag. Quan is a writer that I've had the pleasure of reading over the years, and when I stopped reading altogether, obviously, him, Sister Soldier, there's a whole bunch that aren't coming to my mind right now, but all of those authors just went, to the sidelines. Every author, whether it was indie or traditionally published. But I'm picking back up, and now I have the sequel. I am going to read this, and I hope I love it. It is a thick, thick one. I also, starting I think last year or the year before, I can't remember, started getting books from by Quan from my local library and catching up with the books that I've already read and could remember nothing about, like Road Dogs. So yeah, I can't wait to dive into this one. I'll let you know what it's about when I'm giving interim feelings and thoughts. Finally, in this video, we'll be reading Rebecca Raw's Ruthless Vows. This is the second book, the duology of this series. I don't even know what this series is called, but this is my Fairy Loot edition. The first one I read was a Fairy Loot edition, so this is my Fairy Loot edition. I enjoyed the first one well enough. The first one it's fantasy romance. It's not really, it's romantasy, if that's what you want to call it, or fantasy. I don't know the difference between romantasy and fantasy romance. I think they're the same thing, but it's not a fantasy book. It is because it's not heavily focused on the world building of this place and what this place is about. It's solely based on their relationship, and everything, the world is built around their relationship. So that's what I would call a fantasy romance or a romantasy, me personally. But I enjoyed the first one because I knew that going in. If I was looking for a great vast world with intricate ways of magic weaving and building, and that wouldn't have fit with this series. But this series is entertaining, it's good, and I can't wait to catch up, because where we left off in the last book, our MMC was not the same person that he was when he started that book. I can't wait for that. And this is what it looks like under the dust jacket. In papers. I'm going to try to do a part of each book where I'm giving you the my interim thoughts. I'm gonna try not to spoil them, but also if I'm about to spoil something that I think is pertinent to me having the thoughts that I'm having, then I'll put on the screen somewhere spoilers, so that you don't get spoiled if you are intrigued enough to read any of the books that I'm talking about in this video. But that's it for now. We'll get into reading these books, and I'll see you all in the next clip. I don't even know what book I'm starting with, but I'll let you know in the next clip. Hey y'all. So I'm here just for a quick jump in of how the book is going. I am about 45% in Ruthless Vows. Now, I'm enjoying the book. It picks up kind of right where we left off in book 1, and it's really good. It's not, I don't think this is a 5-star read for me, but it will be a 3.5, 4-star read. But I'll be coming back with my final thoughts on the book. But I went to the library today to return some books, but also I picked up my first T. Kingfisher book, Thorn Hedge, Not All Curses Should Be Broken. And I only picked it up because it was short. It's only 115 pages. That's the kind of book I like. I like short reads. I don't know why. The longer ones are fine as well, but I love a short read. Give me everything in a few pages. Lets me know you are a writer. But since I've never read a T. Kingfisher, I wanted to dibble, dibble and dabble before I actually took a full bite. So if you've read this, let me know. Maybe I'll read it for a video, but I just picked it up to see if I would like to read something a little more with meat on the bones from T. Kingfisher. And again, I thought this author was a man. It is a woman. Go figure. But let me know if you've read this. But anyway, I'll be back with my ending thoughts on Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross in just a moment. Hey y'all. If you talk about my hair, you are anti-black. But I am here just basically because I didn't have time to go back and forth to give you my interim thoughts. Plus, I'm trying to be as least spoilery as I can, because I am a serial unfinisher of series, right? So that means these are series. If I spoil you these books and you haven't read the first, second, third, fourth, whatever number in the series, it's a spoiler for books to come. It's a spoiler of the first book and all of that. So I try my best not to do that. And with these books, you just have to be on your journey to reading them yourself, right? But anyway, I finished all 4. It's taken a while, but I finished all 4. I don't know when this video is going to go up because, like I said, my computer is out of whack. My programs are out of whack. And in this month of February alone, I've gone to the VA, to my VA for appointments several times. And when I say several, about 7 times. So I've been inundated with appointments, with schoolwork, with reading, and trying to live life normally. Let's get into these 4 books that I have finished, and 2 of them means I finished series. So let's get into it. First, we have Kimberly Lemming's the 3rd book in the Mead Mishap series, and it is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human. If you've read the other books, you know that this is Dante, who is a dragon demon. And the title is a little misleading because he didn't get drunk and save a human, but something did happen to cause him to save Cherry. And if you, by me just saying the name Cherry, this is Cherry, you would know if you read the first book who Cherry is, and I'm gonna leave it at that. This was an okay book. For the very first one, a lot. I enjoyed, I believe it's 1.5, which is with the fox shifter and the young lady who has the sword Alexis initially. So those are my 2 favorite of the series, and this is just fine. And the reason why I say that is because when you get to know who Cherry is, and by the end of the book, you're waiting for the reunion. That's all I'm gonna say. The reunion that's supposed to give you like, oh my goodness, they're back. It doesn't give me that, but I enjoyed it well enough, so I'm giving it 3 stars. Next, we have Quan's Gutter, the sequel to Gangsta. And Gangsta, I gave 3 stars. This one, I gave 3 stars. This book is hella long. And it had me questioning Sherelle. I think that's her name. Sherelle, Kenyatta's girlfriend slash wife. I don't know what she is because at points it says girlfriend, fiance, wife. I don't know. But it had me questioning her because Kenyatta is Muslim and she is Christian. And that alone causes them to battle against each other for what they both feel are right. And I can't see me having the idea that murder is wrong and then being with someone who murders, right? And then in this book, it keeps saying like, you can't help who you love. You can't, I think you can't help for the most part who you fall in love with, but you can help who you continue to kind of like be with, especially if it's not an abusive relationship. You can do that, and she does not. But after getting through all of this, the most like when I opened this book was written in 2008, right? But it starts off in 2021. And I was a little taken aback by that, but when you read the story, you know why that is. That it takes place, that the storytelling takes place in 2021, but the story itself takes place way back when. It was written in 2008, so that kind of caught me off guard, but it is what it is. I enjoyed it well enough, but there is so much murder in here that it becomes a point where it is... We know it takes place in California and New York in the streets and with the gang culture and all of that. And there is just a lot of unnecessary killing that at a point it gets repetitive. But it is what it is. I love Quan as a writer because when he's been doing it for a very long time, and I respect his pen. This one just was a 3-star for me though. Next up, we have the 10th installment in the Blessing series by Beverly Jenkins, On the Corner of Hope and Maine. And when I tell you, I'm not going to get into too much of what this book is. Again, this is the 10th book in the Blessing series. So 1 through 9 books you got to read in order to know these characters full and well. But all of these characters you've met throughout every single book, but not every character in every book gets a light shined on their particular goings on, but you get a little piece of each of them all the time. But I will say this book again gives me that whole, it's a part of Black culture, it seems now, that everyone says, you know, you have to forgive people that have wronged you, but you don't do it for them, you do it for yourself. I 100% disagree. I 100% disagree. You don't have to forgive anyone for anything. All you have to do is learn how to move on. And when I say move on, not that you have to forget it, that you have to get over it or anything of the sort. When you tell people to forgive, not for them, not for the other person, but for you, once they decide to do that, they then have to live with, but I'm still angry. I'm still hurting. I'm still mad. I want to scream. I want to say something else that now I don't feel the right to have these emotions or say these things because I already forgave. That is unfair to the person that has been wronged. But forgiving does not negate what they've done, and it doesn't stop you from feeling any of the feelings at any point in time that you've ever felt or will ever feel. Because just because something has happened to you, let's say in 2000, and we're in 2025, does not mean that you do not have the right to feel angry about it in 2025. It happened to you. It was done to you. And I'm tired of that narrative. You have the right to be angry. If something happened to you yesterday and you said, you know what, I'm over it, but today you want to be angry about it, you have every freaking right to be angry about it because it happened to you. Now, if the person that has done the wrong or the people around you don't want to sit around and hear you talk about for the 100th time how something has happened to you, that is also on them. They have the right to say, we don't want to hear that anymore. That is a boundary that they have to put up, but you don't have to forgive anybody for anything. The amount of time someone does something nice in this book for someone that does not deserve it from them is overwhelming. And I'm over the narrative, but I do love Beverly Jenkins' writing. I love her stories. I love her storytelling. But that one thing, and it's not only in this book that I find it in so many books. Forgive for them, not for you. I mean, forgive for you, not for them. It becomes overwhelming. It becomes very overwhelming. Things happen to you. And at any point in time in your life, you can relapse into feeling the things that you felt before. And that does not make you any less of a person, any less healed, any less of any of these things. You are still human and you are allowed to feel what you feel. But anyway, I read this and something happens to Bernadine's husband that I'm not sorry about. I'm gonna leave you with that. Ex-husband. I shouldn't say husband, ex-husband. And there were some questions in the back of this book for like a book club. And one of the questions had to do with Bernadine and Mal, and I'm sickened by their relationship in this book. So that is what it is. I'm not a fan, but that's just me. But I gave this book a 4-star. I do suggest that people do read the Blessing series. It is so good. It is so fun. It is touching. It can bring you to tears. It can have you happy. All of those things. It gives you all the feels of small town living. So yes, it is a cozy, small town, contemporary lifestyle of this Black town, historical town, that is now brought into the 21st century. And you get to love these characters, or some of them, a lot of them. But yeah, I recommend this series. Last but not least, we have Rebecca Ross' Ruthless Vows, the second in the duology of Letters of Enchantment. I heard a lot of people say they didn't like this second book, and I can see why. For 60% of this book, these two characters are not together. If you read the first one, you know why they're not together by the end of the first one, but 60% in, they're not together. And it leads me to, I'm a little off. Like, third person romance is just not for me. Third person romance is just not for me. The 60% that they're not together, that's obviously in third person. You don't mind that, or at least I didn't mind that as much, because it's not personal. You're learning their stories. You're hearing about what's going on in the war. You're hearing about Dacre. You're hearing about Enva. You're hearing about all these different things, which makes the book enjoyable. And then they come together and it's in third person. It kind of brings me out of the story. I don't even think I realized that in the first book that was third person, I believe. It was an okay story. I think I'm going to give this 3.5. It was an okay story, but that third person and their romance takes me out of the story. Again, since they weren't together for 60% of this book. Rebecca Ross, I will check out other books from her, but I don't know. Also, this book lends me to another thing that I've been having an issue with in especially fantasies, where people are worshiping gods that do not care for them in the least. In this book, well, in both the books, Dacre is not a good god. So and mind you, in this book in particular, Dacre says, we don't really care for you people. We use you to our whim to get what we want. And whether we keep you alive after that is up to us. We do what we want. What? Excuse me? Pardon? Why do people find the need? I guess it's hope or faith, but you're putting hope and faith and longing into gods that do not care for you. I don't know. It's just a thing that I've come to understand are just going to be in these fantasy books. But yeah, I give it a 3.5. It was okay. So I have one more book in this series, book 11, that is already out. I own it. I will get to it soon enough. But there is a book that Beverly Jenkins is putting out, the 12th book. It comes out, I believe, I want to say in October, but later on in this year. And I will be getting it because I own every other book. I will be getting it, and I do enjoy these. And these are books that I could see myself rereading the series over and over and over again until the end of time. But this puts me one step closer to being caught up with this series. This is the last book in this series that is out, so I am all the way caught up in this series. I will not say that I've finished the series with this because I don't know if the series is over, and by reading it, I don't think that it is. It has room to grow in this series, and I wouldn't mind it growing. So yeah, I'm one step closer. Well, I'm caught up in this series, and one step closer to not being a serial unfinisher of series. But with these two books, I have finished the series with these two books. This was a duology, and so was this. And so with me finishing this urban fiction and this fantasy, I am finished with these two series. I have officially finished 6 series, and that was my goal for 2025, to finish 6 series that I started in 2024 and further past. So I have done that. Now, any series that I finish is just the icing on the cake or the cherry on top, whatever you want to call it. So I am excited about that. I am closer to not being a serial unfinisher of series. However, there are so many series that I didn't realize I have not finished until sitting down to write my goals out for 2025. So there's so many that I still have to finish. And I hope you come along for the ride. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you plan on reading any of these books now. What is your favorite genre of books? Because I have, in this video, we've read fantasy, contemporary, urban fiction, and paranormal fantasy, you can say. So let me know if you've read any of these series, but also what's your favorite genre to read. I'll see you all in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And whenever this video gets out, I hope you're having a great day, week, month, and for the rest of your year. Bye.